I'm back today with another Q&A for you all, so let's do it.
Maddie S. asks, which author is the most inspiring to you and why?
This is an easy answer. I have one favorite author who's been my favorite for so long, and that's Shauna Niequist. She wrote, I think, 4 books, Cold Tangerines, Bittersweet, Bread and Wine, and Present Over Perfect, and I love all of her books so much. I've read them all 4 to 5 times at least, and they just never get old to me. I would say what inspires me about her is she's so real and authentic, and I feel like she also is really good at finding beauty in like the everyday life, which is something that I aspire to do as well. So very inspired by her.
Harper wants to know, will you ever release a poetry book?
Yes, I'm actually working on that right now, so you will see in the future.
Wes asks, what is your favorite thing to bake during this time of year?
Ooh, I would say probably pie. I love making pies, and I think there's nothing better for the cold weather than like either an apple or a pumpkin pie. I made 2 of them in the last couple of weeks, so I love pies.
Aaliyah asks, do you find yourself more of a person who's always there for others or closed off when it comes to stuff like that?
This is kind of an interesting question. Naturally, and it's also very deeply, so good for you. Naturally, I'm try to be there for others, very attached and connected with other people's feelings. But because I'm like that, I sometimes tend to go too far, and then I start to withdraw a little bit and like not respond to my texts for a long time, or just kind of like not push people away consciously, but just kind of like withdraw into myself a little bit. So I would say I kind of go back and forth, but I tend more towards thinking of others and trying to connect and like being concerned with their feelings and stuff.
MN Girl asks, do you think music is a morally neutral art form, or is some music morally good / right and some music morally bad or wrong? As a Christian, how do you determine what music you listen to?
Wow, that is a very deep, very complex question. I feel like I could do like a very long whole video on that because there's a lot of layers there, but I'll just try to say like what comes to mind on like in the brief sense. Okay, I think some music could be morally bad. If that music, in my opinion, I think that morally bad would be anything that degrades the human person, treating other people like an object, or something that encourages someone to like take their life, or something that's just very like dark, toxic, like just a bad message. I would personally say that is morally bad music if it's like hurting someone when they listen to it. Now, that being said, I would say most music is kind of like up for interpretation and affects different people differently. So like I've listened to some songs that are darker and have more of like a darker, almost hopeless message. Do I think that that's morally wrong? No. But at the same time, I think it's important that the music that you're listening to doesn't encourage you to stay in a state of darkness. But sometimes you're going through something really, really bad, and listening to dark music, not dark, I guess the word would be more just like, I don't know, sorrowful type of music helps you get through that. You can't just pretend to be happy all the time. So I don't know, sometimes hopeless music is what you need in that moment to move through and express the emotion. For me, I definitely listen to songs at times that I don't think have the most positive messages and can kind of even be negative. If I was in a very negative state, that's what I would be drawn to listening to. So I don't think my music listening is always like perfectly moral 24/7. But in general, I do aim to listen to music that makes me closer to God and closer to the person that I want to be versus farther away. So hopefully that makes sense, but that was a very deep question. I feel like there's a lot more to say for that.
Teresa wants to know, what did your single years teach you?
Oh, Teresa, I love that question. I feel like I learned so much in my single years. I grew so much as a person. I think one of the biggest things that being single taught me is that loneliness is not something that, first of all, it's something that everyone experiences at times, but it's not something that a relationship will fix. So if you're already feeling lonely and then you get like a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, it's not really going to necessarily fix that. I think you have to find connection where you are, no matter what state of life you're in. So with your friends, with your family, especially with God, like you are meant to be connected, and having like a full, rich, satisfying life is all about connection. So I would say that was one of the biggest things, because I felt pretty happy in my single life and pretty full, because I had and still have like those great relationships. Because your spouse is not going to fill all of your needs. That's impossible for one person to do that. So I would say just like finding connection where you are, that's like the biggest thing that I learned being single.
And your last question is from Miranda. What is your favorite play that you've seen live and your favorite that you've been in?
Oh, that's really good. Okay, that's pretty easy because I saw one Broadway show in my life. I literally cried multiple times because it was so good, which is Wicked. I saw Wicked on Broadway and it was just amazing. Oh my gosh, I literally was just like crying because of how good it was. My favorite play that I was in is Seussical the Musical. I played, if you guys know musical theater, I played Gertrude, and it was like the biggest role that I've ever done, and it was a very meaningful role for me personally. And just that show in general is so like, it has so many good messages, and there's like, the music is so good, especially Anything's Possible. I love that song. So anyway, that's my favorite. I hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A. Thanks for hanging with me today, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!